We're okay. Thank you very much. As I said, the next part of the press conference, very exciting. I'm joined now by the General Manager of Brand and Marketing at MTN South Africa, Ms. Nomsa Chabeli, just to talk about what we can expect from now up until the end of the tournament. Nomsa, big semi-finals, it's been an exciting tournament so far, and we go into the second leg with obviously not knowing who will be in the final, but just from an MTN point of view, just your thoughts and just talk to us about what fans can expect.
So firstly, I'd like to thank the Safety and Security Cluster. I think the arrangements for this weekend are very critical because we want to ensure that the fans ultimately have a very memorable and good experience when they go to these matches. It's going to be a big weekend in Gauteng. I mean, we've got the three biggest teams in Gauteng participating in the semi-finals. I think from a brand perspective, it doesn't get better than that, So we expect quite a lot to be happening. But I think from our approach, it's in different phases. Firstly, the teams themselves for us are very important. We've landed up in a good space. We believe that it's going to be an exciting, 90 minutes on the pitch on both days. And hopefully we get more goals, because what's important is, as you all know, is that this year we unveiled a new trophy after we retired the last one with Orlando Pirates taking it to Parktown. And what we're looking at with the four teams that are left is which one is actually going to edge its name on this trophy. So from our perspective, we're looking forward and we're excited to see where this one lands. And the second part really is that whatever team goes through and wins the MTN8 final plays a very pivotal role when it comes to charity in South Africa. So every goal is 20,000 Rand. And the team that wins gets the full pot and decides which charity that they're going to give the money to. So for us, it's a critical part of this tournament, because it's not just about what happens in the stadium, but it's also us reaching out to fans that are not in a very good space where this money goes a long way for them. And then the third part is about the fans themselves. These are the people who make the game what it is today. And from an MTN perspective, we've been running a competition where you stand your chance to win your share of 8 million Rand. And the last fan standing, as you know, but who wins 1 million Rand. It's a life-changing 1 million Rand, as all of you know, because if you look at the fan that won last year, he's gone ahead and extended his home, he's built rooms, and now he's renting out those facilities and making additional revenue from that. So it's really life-changing opportunity to win something like that. And all we say is that all you need to do is dial *144 *8#, recharge with 10 Rand or more, and you stand a chance to win. So that's the other important part of it. And I think for me also, the people I'd like to thank are the legends of football themselves. They've traversed the country, engaging with fans, engaging with yourselves as the media. I know that this week, for example, the likes of Josta, etc., were in Gauteng, really in Tshwane. Yesterday, I think they went as far as the Val, really ramping up support for the MTN8, but most importantly, going to the fans. We sometimes don't realize how important it is for fans to have intimacy with their legends, with the football players, the people that they only read about in newspapers or see on TV, but the experience for them to actually come that close and have that engagement is something that the MTN8 brings to the fans. So it's really part of that MTN planning when we really say it's wafa time and the winner takes all. It's also really ensuring that we are very inclusive. It's not just about the fans who are inside the stadium, but it's about the rest of the country.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nomsa. Let's take questions from the floor. We'll just take 2 or 3. If we still have time. Tiseto, City Press.
Thank you very much. My question really is, MTN has been a great partner to the PSL and South African football for so many years. The last time, I think in 2016, when you renewed the sponsorship, it was to expire in 2022. In 2022 last year, we did not hear or see any announcements as to whether the relationship has been renewed for another 5 years or whatever the case might be. And also, if you can maybe just tell us, maybe your comment on why 8 million rand for so many years, why is it not going up, or is it linked to 8? Yeah, so pardon me, we don't often get opportunities to ask senior management these questions.
So it's 15 years of the MTN8. It's probably one of the longest partnerships from a sponsorship perspective in this country, and it's a partnership that MTN takes very seriously because of the love that South Africans have of football. It's the biggest sport in the country, and it's the biggest sport on the African tournament. So yes, you might not have heard about a renewal, etc. We try and keep these things very close to our chests, But the fact that I'm sitting here today talking to you, and as far as you're concerned, the contract has expired, must tell you something about the state of the relationship. MTN is very committed to football, very committed to the PSL, very committed to the clubs and the fans, and we will stay, this partnership for us is quite critical.
We're still married.
There's no divorce.
You want another wedding?
Please forgive my
All right. We'll take the second one.
The prize money?
The prize money is linked to the aid. I think I've got the marketing team here, and one of the things that they're tasked with is really trying to innovate, when it comes to the MTN8. But definitely it's linked to the aid. We try as much as possible to leverage the aid. But I think what's important is it's not just about the prize money that goes to the teams. There's quite a lot of other monies that get spent outside of that. When I talk about things like charity, for example. So it's perhaps the headline is always the 8 million rand. But once you start looking at the activity end to end, you realize that it's far more than 8 million rand, and it has grown over the last couple of years.
And the 8 million is still the biggest prize money, domestic football on the African continent in terms of cup competitions.
Chairman.
Thank you.
Yes, so Nomsa Chabeli, that's what I say here. With regards to the venue for the final, how far are you on deciding that? And how important is to maybe, because today sport, and I think we've been exposed to things like sports tourism and the role that football in particular plays in that, to drive all these other activities around sport and especially with football. How important would be to announce the venue for the final before the tournament starts to drive all these other things that are accompanying sport?
Should I take that one? Okay. You will come in. Okay. You said how far are we in? We are very close.
I think the most important question is the second one.
The sports tourism.
Yes. In terms of the timing of announcing the venues for the cup finals, moving away from these last minute things.
The MTN8 is a unique tournament by its nature because it's wafa, winner takes all. We don't know who's going to go to the final. So there's a lot of things that come into consideration when deciding on the final venue. So it's the uniqueness of it. I think there are some tournaments where upfront you can decide. If you look at a World Cup, for example, you can decide on from the first game to the final. You can plot the stadia and everything else. But I think the beauty about the MTN8 final is also this sudden death element, and that sudden death element then decides what where the teams show up next. So if you think about it, for example, you start with the 8 teams. Now you're sitting with the 4. If we had announced all the venues, we wouldn't have known, for example, that Stellenbosch would still be in the final 4. And therefore, you can't upfront then announce all those stadiums because it's also going to depend on the teams that are last team standing. So that's literally what we are faced with. And for us as sponsors and as a PSL, it's part of the uniqueness of this tournament in a sense that really your team, to a certain extent, determines where this tournament ends up.
Mm-hmm. So Nomsa, my question was based on in trying to promote sports tourism. and also moving in the direction of the norm of international cup finals, where you have a venue for the final way before the tournament starts, irrespective of who reaches the final, to know that if it's destination Orlando, we know that destination Orlando hotels around that final date are already booked, irrespective of. So I was just saying, are you maybe looking at that in future?
Yeah, I think it's a good point, and it is something that is being considered and has been considered. So probably in the future, maybe that's where we'll move in. And I think Usis Nomsa is very much correct in saying there are a whole lot of other factors that we have to think about. If you see fixtures that are released at the start of the season, and the amount of fixture changes that then happen due to venue availability and so on. You would have seen Mamelodi Sundowns, for example. When the fixture came out, their fixtures were Loftus Stadium, because we had thought that the venue would be available. And then, they haven't played there. So there are a lot of factors that come into play. But that is a very good point. And ideally, in an ideal world, that is what we would want to do as the PSL and our partners. Last question. I think I saw a new hand. Yeah, Temba, you can go ahead. Quick one.
Temba Shivalala, Joseph from Sports. You covered one part of it, yeah. But the other concern that I have is that teams, when it comes to goals for charity, is there any drive that you guys take with the teams that they know that whatever that they do, they're doing it for charity? Because one thing that I've picked up, even some of the coaches, if not most of them, don't know that every goal that goes in there goes into charity. Is the drive that you guys are looking to have with the clubs that tell your coaches, tell your players that it goes beyond just than playing football?
They should.
But they don't.
It should be a motivation on its own. We've got 15 goals so far, I think, in the tournament.
Yeah. And we've run this goals for charity for years now.
But trust me, coaches, even players don't. I don't want to mention names, but my colleagues will know.
You've got inside information.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe we'll actually then have to, PSL will have to assist us then to socialize it better. But it's something that we've been doing for years. And any team that has lifted this trophy knows that that's an integral part of the deliverable. It's the goals for charity. So if I had to talk to a Pirates player that would tell me they didn't know that, I'd be very surprised. Maybe that's your inside info. No, but if you think about the fact that they've lifted the trophy for how many times, and that means how many times they've actually gone to a charity of their choice. But it's something that we will work on and ensure that it's better socialized, because for us it's a very important part of this tournament.
Thank you very much. I think we're going to end it here. Do you have any parting shots, Musa? All good?
No, just to thank the media, for supporting the MTN8. And good luck to all of you for the last journal standing. Thank you.
Yes, what I remember him winning it, was it 2012, 2013? 2013. And a few others in the room.
You still look so young.